In Sanatan Dharma, we are blessed with many great modern day saints. These personalities are an example to us of how we should live a dharmic life, and they lay out a pathway for us to follow so that we might also be able to attain Bhagavan's grace. Foremost among them is the great saint known as Sant Tulsidasa. We've already discussed the great sage Valmiki in our last podcast. That same Valmiki who wrote the original Ramayana, upon which all other Ramayans are based. However, according to the Adhyatma Ramayana that was written by the sage Vedavyas, it was that same Valmiki who was reborn as Vedavyas. According to the Bhavishyotar Puran, Tulsidas was the reincarnation of Valmiki. Lord Shiva had described to his wife, Mother Parvati, that this is how Valmiki will incarnate in the age of Kali Yuga, which is the age that we are currently in. Tulsidas was born on the 7th day in the month of Shravan, which is July to August. His birthplace is identified as Rajapur, also known as Chitrakoot, at the bank of the Yamuna River in Uttar Pradesh. The name of his parents are Hulsi and Atmaram Dubey. The exact birth date of Tulsidas is not clear, but according to some scholars, he was born in 1554, but others say it was in 1532. He lived for about 126 years. After his birth, he started chanting the name of Rama instead of crying. That is why he was named Ram Bhola, as he himself stated in the Vinaya Patrika, which is one of his own compositions. On the 4th night after his birth, his father passed away, and shortly thereafter, his mother also died. His mother's maid, Chunia, took him in and raised him until he was 5.5 years old, but then she too passed away. After this, Ram Bhola lived as an orphan and walked door to door begging for alms. When he was 7 years old, he was given the Janewa string in the Yagyo Pavitra Sanskar and renamed Tulsidas. He started his first learning in Ayodhya. In his epic, the Ram Charitra Manasa, he mentioned that his guru narrated to him the Ramayana over and over again. He came to the sacred city of Varanasi when he was just 15 to 16 years old, and he got the knowledge of Sanskrit grammar, Hindu literature, and philosophy according to the 4 Vedas. By the blessing of his guru, he fell in love with the Ramayana and with Shri Rama himself. After study, by the permission of his guru, he came back to his birthplace of Chitrakoot. He started to live in his family home, performing devotional service and narrating the story of the Ramayana. In the year 1583, he was married to Ratnavali. After some years of marriage, he had a son named Tarak, who died when he was just a toddler. As such, he tended to cling to his wife. One day, while Tulsidas was in the temple of Hanuman, his wife went to her father's home. When he returned home and did not see her, he swam along the river Yamuna in order to meet her. Ratnavali was very upset with this, and she chastised him for it. She remarked that, "Had you had as much love for Shri Ram as you have for me, you'd have become a true devotee and attained moksha." Hearing this, he totally reformed his life. He then left his wife and went to the holy city of Prayag, where he renounced the stages of Grihastha ashram and became a sannyasa. Every morning, Tulsidas would go to the river banks to answer the calls of nature and bathe. When he was finished, he would empty the leftover water onto a tree that had dried up nearby. But because of this, that tree became green very quickly. One day, when he was pouring water onto that tree, he heard a voice. He was startled and asked, "Who are you that is speaking?" He then saw a bhoot, or a ghost, standing by the tree. The ghost said to him, "I live on this tree, and I am happy with your service. Tell me, what do you want?" Tulsidas was of a simple nature and said, "I want to see my Rama." The ghost said, "Lord Hanuman can help you to see Lord Rama." Then Tulsidas asked, "Where can I see Lord Hanuman?" To his surprise, the ghost said, "Whenever you do your Rama Katha, a leper comes in the audience and listens. He comes first and he's the last to leave. You just hold on to his feet. That is Hanumanji. Do not allow him to leave until you get his darshan." So the next time Tulsidas was performing katha, he kept a lookout for this leper. Sure enough, he saw him, and upon completion of the katha, he ran to him and held on to his feet. At first, the leper tried to get away, telling Tulsidas that he was unclean and that he should leave. But Tulsidas told him that he knew who he was and retold the whole tale of the ghost to him. The leper then revealed himself to Tulsidas, and he told him that he should go to Chitrakoot if he wanted to see Shri Ram. He then gave Tulsidas his blessings and left. Tulsidas immediately went to Chitrakoot. He became engrossed in the devotion of Shri Ram over there. One day, he had just gone out for his morning devotion. On the way, he saw two very handsome princes with horses and bows and arrows passing by. Tulsidas was pleased to see them, but he did not recognize them as Shri Ram and Lakshman. They smiled at Tulsidas and they continued on their way. Then Hanumanji came from behind and told him that he did not get the darshan because he did not recognize the Lord. Tulsidas lamented that he could not recognize his Rama. Hanumanji consoled him on this and said that he would see him again the very next morning. On the next morning, Tulsidas was waiting for Shri Ram by keeping his seat at Ram Ghat. This time, he met Rama again when he was making sandalwood paste chandan. Shri Ram came to him and asked for a tilak of sandalwood paste. In this way, he saw Shri Ram clearly. Tulsidas was so happy that he became engrossed in the form of the Lord, and he forgot about the sandalwood paste. Then Shri Ram took the tilaka himself and applied it on the forehead of Tulsidas. Tulsidas was attributed with the power of working miracles. In one such miracle, he is believed to have brought back a dead Brahmin to life. While the Brahmin was being taken for cremation, his widow bowed to Tulsidas on the way. He addressed her as Subhaha Gyavati, a woman whose husband is alive. The widow told Tulsidas her husband had just died, so his words could not be true. Tulsidas said that the word had passed his lips, so he would restore the dead man to life. He asked everybody present to close their eyes, and he uttered the name of Rama. On doing so, the dead Brahmin was raised back to life. In another miracle described by the Priya Das, the Mughal Emperor Akbar summoned Tulsidas on hearing of his bringing back a dead man to life. Tulsidas declined to go, as he was too engrossed in creating his verses for the Shri Ram Charitra Manasa. However, he was later forcibly brought before the Akbar and was asked to perform a miracle. Tulsidas declined by saying, "I have not performed any miracles. All I know is Rama." The emperor imprisoned Tulsidas, saying, "We will see this Rama." Tulsidas refused to bow to Akbar and created a great composition in praise of Hanuman. This composition we now know as the Hanumaan Chaleesa. It is said that he chanted the Hanumaan Chaleesa for 40 days, and suddenly an army of monkeys descended upon the town and wreaked havoc in all corners of the prison and the city, entering each home and emperor's harem, scratching people and throwing bricks. One of the ministers told the emperor that this was the miracle of Tulsidas. The emperor then fell at Tulsidas's feet, released him, and apologized. Tulsidas stopped the menace of the monkeys and asked the emperor to abandon the place. The emperor agreed and moved back to Delhi. Ever since then, Akbar became a close friend of Tulsidas, and he also ordered that all followers of Rama, Hanuman, and other Hindus should not be harassed in his kingdom. Tulsidas is credited with composing the Shri Ram Charitra Manasa, the Hanumaan Chaleesa, the Dohavali, the Kavitavali, the Gitavali, the Krishnavali, and the Vinaya Patrika. Tulsidas died on the river bank of Ganga at Asighat in the month of Shravan, which is July or August, in 1623. This has been a presentation of the Hindu Pod. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and rate this episode, since it helps to bump us up in the feeds, which helps others to find the podcast. Please send comments to thehindupod@gmail.com. That's thehindupod@gmail.com. You can text us at 281-804-9616 or just search Facebook for The Hindu Pod. If you live in the Houston area, you can find us on most Sundays at the Sanatan Dharm Mandir for Sunday Morning Satsangh. They are located at 12918 Player Street, Houston, Texas 77045, and are open Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. If you would like to support the pod financially, we are sponsored by HinduHandcrafts.com. That's HinduHandcrafts.com. Please visit HinduHandcrafts.com for Hindu religious-based items such as framed pictures, wall plaques, tapestries, t-shirts, clocks, and so on. They are perfect for puja use and home decor gifts. Until next time, Jai Shri Ram.